Artificial intelligence is a double-edged sword. It can make human lives both better and worse. However, if it is left unregulated, it can pose a grave threat to the very existence of humanity. Once we pass this tipping point, AI may escape human control for good. We do not know how much time is left to prepare for us. These unprecedented risks present a new set of challenges for us. The first, there is no international consensus on how to regulate the development and use of AI for malicious purposes. Second, even the wealthiest and most influential national governments lack the capability to contain the AI competition alone. Without common international regulations, players in both the public and private sectors have the incentive to dodge domestic restrictions. The journey ahead will be full of challenges and hurdles, but we have no other choice but to try for a future safer and better for all. We must find a path that can ensure safe and sustainable development and use of the AI. The challenge before us is global. The solution should be a truly global one.
The first challenge we have is that technology development is accelerating with big giant steps, while normative framework is moving at a very slow pace, snail's pace. So as a result, the gap between the technology and norms is widening with each passing day. Why? Because we have two inherent risks with AI technology development. First is fear of loss of human control. The second risk is weaponization risk. First task is to build global consensus. And without global consensus, we don't have norms like NPT. Without norms, we don't have institutions like IAEA. So how we should find the consensus is the first question we tackle, but the challenges involving AI technology are so wide and deep. And we cannot solve all these problems all at once, overnight. And we believe that the first step is to identify what is the fundamental issue, most fundamental issue, where key players share common concern and have least political differences. And that focus, in our view, can be how to ensure responsible state behavior in military domain of AI. And the objective should be how to minimize the security risks posed by large-scale AIs.
I don't think the world needs to wait, and I don't think the United States needs to wait to come up with a domestic consensus before it engages abroad. Of course, there are some things where it will not make sense for the US government to go international when there's no consensus at home. But we do have the situation, for instance, that we don't need a domestic consensus, truly, for the US government, for the White House, the State Department, to engage on international diplomacy as to the use of AI in armed conflict or in in aggression. And this is lucky because this administration, at least, and I think it's to some extent a bipartisan inclination, believes that it is urgent to engage specifically with China as a major potential military adversary of the United States, but also a major AI developer on these issues. And just a few hours ago, President Biden and Chairman Xi had a phone call, and they emphasized that the two countries are planning in the coming weeks to conduct a direct government-to-government dialogue on issues around AI. And I'm confident global security and military use will be part of that dialogue. While the United States and China have many differences, these threats to international security and to strategic stability are threats to the security of both the United States and Chinese peoples, and of course, everyone else. And it makes me feel optimistic that even in this very tense moment, both US and Chinese governments seem to recognize that they need to begin to talk about this.
So, given the current political climate change between China and the US, it is not easy job to establish a new channel, to have the dialogue on AI. And also, I don't think the government from both sides are ready to have a talk on AI issue before the summit. So it's really harsh for them. So, and also from the technical perspective, you mentioned about the hurdle. I think two things. One is anything regarding to the nuclear NC3 system are very sensitive, and also everything related to the AI are complicated. If we put them together, it's easy to say we come out with an idea, do not use AI as a weapon to attack NC3 system. But how to implement it? You need a very comprehensive dialogue between the parties involved, military, involved the diplomat, the armed control expert, something. So I mean, it's not an easy job to implement that. That's the hurdles. Yes, I think the think tank's role is very important. So far, as I know, there are 7 track 2 dialogues regarding the China-US AI issues. So it can encompass experts from the policy, military, science, law, and also the tech companies. So the dialogue to my personal involvement, most of them are very productive, and people from two sides all appreciate to have a channel to communicate. It's very inspiring and it's necessary. And but we do not come out with some. We have some very general result consensus, but not that much specifics. And it's a complicated issue. Needs more time to have to discuss. But from the think tank and the government relations perspective, I think first our government are very positive to support such kind of the track 2 dialogue between two sides, and also from the nature of the AI governance, it is necessary to have the involvement of the think tank expert, because to my observations that the knowledge is very important, and the government do not have the knowledge. To be honest, I heard a lot of times that people say government know nothing about AI. It may not true, because it's a new topics, and you don't have the talent over there. But the government are learning very fast. But it reflects the truth. You need involvement of the experts from think tank.
예, 저는 이제 국방 분야만 담당해 온 사람으로서 이제 그런 점에 상당히 이제 의미가 있고, 지금 사회자께서 질문을 하셨지만 우리가 미중 비롯한 4강 사이에 껴 있는 나라로서 이제 그런 역할을 할 수 있다는 장점이 분명히 있다고 생각합니다. 또 마침 올해 이제 우리나라에서 그런 큰 회의가 열리기 때문에 좋은 기회라고 생각이 됩니다. 특히 우리는 아시다시피 이 남북이 분단되어 있는 세계 유일한 이제 국가 아니겠습니까? 이제 그런 점에서 현존 위협이 있는 상황에서 이제 그런 주도권을 갖고 노력한다는 것은 또 세계 각국의 여러 나라에 상당히 긍정적인 의미에서 어필할 수 있는 부분이 있으리라고 생각을 합니다.
On the first question, apart from technical difficulties inherent in AI, we have also structural difficulties inherent in international relations, which are twofold. The first divide we have is technology divide. Those who have technology do not want to be regulated or slowed down by other countries. Those who don't have technology want to regulate. Second divide we have is value divide, which hinders the real cooperation between US and China. So how to narrow down these two divides is a structural issue, but there I think UN's role comes in on your second question, because UN is intended as a talk shop, and also UN is the global convener. So whatever problems we have and whatever ideas we have to be fed ultimately to the UN, and that requires very dynamic process of engineering global consensus. And for that, again, I very much agree with Graham and Chuanying's point. Nothing can be done without US and China mutual understanding.
I think the only way to respond is that we don't know, and no one knows for sure what's possible and if something is going to happen when. And so I naturally find myself to be a little skeptical, because the people who are the loudest proponents of the idea that AGI is coming are also people who usually stand to make money if the market believes that AI will be very, very powerful. So just as a cynical person, I started out as a journalist. I don't trust the people who will profit when they give the message, but I don't know, they could be right. The most important thing I'll add is there's a definition question that was very important there. First, understanding what does AGI mean is very difficult. I think the OpenAI company, which declares that its mission is to develop safe AGI, they consider it AGI if this general purpose system is capable of doing essentially all economically valuable human tasks. So that's one definition, but they assert that maybe they can do it safely. And I just think this is a difficult definition. Of course, a dangerous one, if you have such an apparatus, is one where either through its design or its structure of control around the use of this tool, it poses major risks. We have to be a little skeptical, but we don't know. But step by step, as systems are used and developed, it's important to pay attention to those controls. When the risks rise, precautions must rise at pace. And there are many ways to do it, many good ideas. In the US, we have private innovators trying to develop it. They may not face regulation, but they face massive, expensive lawsuits if they cause significant harm. So that's how we have it arranged in this country right now.
Specifically, I want to emphasize the AI safety. I don't know whether you guys all know, pay attention to the difference between AI safety and AI security. And security is more about the state behavior, how responsible use of AI. But AI safety is another category. It's the safety of the system itself. large language model and the algorithm, right? So it's a very technical area. So for that reason, it's kind of easy to reach consensus among different countries, right? So that's the reason why we are optimistic about the China-US reach agreement on AI safety issues, and also to how to deal with the AGI. So I think there's, if we talk about the human control, the AI is not out of the control, human in the loop, something like that. The one thing we need to do is still the safety issues. You mentioned the alignment and accountability, transparency, explainability, and the paramount, something like that. I think during my involvement of the Track 2 dialogue between China and the US, also some international conference, I think there are a huge consensus in this area. I mean, it is important regarding to the AI governance. It is important to share the knowledge, share the information. But in cyber area, we did not see that happen. People are a lack of willingness to share this. But in the AI safety, I saw a lot of the willingness to share this information, which is critical to deal with the security issue caused by the AGI in the future. And also, from the UN levels, there's open-ended working group, and also the CCW dialogues over there. And it's a positive sign to deal with the military use of AI in the future. So I think the government from all over the world are very cautious about that. So we do not need to be too pessimistic about the development of the AGI, because on other side, the investment in governance are still very fast growing.
Although full details of how AGI will emerge and how much security threats it will pose, still one thing is clear to everybody, which is that we have to do everything to prevent the worst case scenario, that super AGI will be dangerous, and if it is allowed to make both tactical and strategic war-fighting decision-making. So on that, I think US and China can share common concern. So when we expect US-China to deepen their dialogue on this issue, I think how to avoid that catastrophic scenario should be on their agenda.
AI 군사적 활용 관련해서 아주 흥미로운 회사가 하나 있습니다. 미국의 팔란티어라고, 국내에는 많이 알려지지 않은 회사지만 사실은 미국의 CIA라든지 DIA라든지 이런 정보 분야 쪽에 이제 프로젝트도 많이 했고, 여러분 잘 아시는 이제 빈라덴 제거 작전 할 때 그때 팔란티어에서 개발한 고담 프로그램인 게 있는데, 영화 배트맨에 나오는 고담과 같은 이름입니다. 이제 그런 그 프로그램을 활용해서 빈라덴을 제거하는데 상당히 도움을 받았다고 하고요. 지금 우크라이나전이나 아니면 이스라엘 가자 전쟁에서도 보면 지금 AI가 많이 이제 활용되고 있습니다. 뭐 드론뿐 아니고 디시전 메이킹에서도 이제 활용이 되고 있는데, 앞으로 이러한 전쟁 분쟁이 계속 일어난다면 저는 우리가 흔히 얘기하는 싱귤레리티 그 시기도 또 더 앞당겨질 수 있지 않나, 이제 그런 생각을 좀 해봅니다.